Okay, hello everyone. It's William DeBoyk here doing the video results for the week, second week of March, beginning from Monday the 7th to Friday the 11th of March 2011. Yeah, so this jumps straight into the results. Quite a few trades this week. We had one trade running from the week before, from the 1st. Which closed this week, and on top of that, we had a total of. Once again, I probably should have written this down beforehand, but there we go. You'll get used to it, I'm sure. So we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 trades, but we had 10 trades close out because we had the one trade from last week, from the first. So we'll go through these in order. We'll talk about these. The trade on the screen at the moment, this is a trade we've currently got open. I'm recording this today on Monday, so we can ignore this trade for the time being. But we'll talk about the other trades that we had from last week. So if I attach this to the screen, let me get rid of these lines. This red line. Sorry guys, I think this is from some of the analysis I was looking at earlier in the week. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we had one trade that we placed on the 1st of March, which is over here, a longer term trade that we had in place. It was a buy trade in the cables. You can see we got triggered in here. I mean, I'll actually knock this up a time frame to the daily charts. So you can see we got triggered into this one here. Our initial stop loss was all the way down here. Now we did decide to close this trade out early, so we didn't get stopped for a full stop. But we did take a partial loss on this one. I think it was roughly about half of the initial stop loss we had in place. So we're going for a longer term target. I mean, you can see here we got triggered into the trade on the first, and obviously we were still in the. We came out the trade on the. When did we come out the trade? We came out the trade on the 9th. Yeah, on the 9th. So we were chopping around in here for 8 days or so, 7, 8 days. Total days, that is, trading days, it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trading days. Okay, so we got stopped out on the 7th trading day, and I say took a break even on that one. So that was the cable on there. Now, as far as trades for the week just gone, so from the 7th to the 11th, we had a total of 9 trades. The first trade that we had was on the 7th, so that was on the Monday. We had just the one trade there, which was on the Euro US. If I bring this up on here. Now, unfortunately, on this trade, we did take a loss. Once again, it wasn't a full loss. We did close the trade out before coming down, but it did come very close to the full loss. I mean, had we left the trade, once again, it would have gone to the full to the full stop, I should say. So we did close this trade out early. You can see here we got triggered in here. The market didn't really do too much. Had a bit of a drop. Decided to come out the trade a little bit early. The market chopped around then for a good 10 hours or so before eventually coming back down. So, good that we closed it out a little bit early, but obviously not good to have the loss on there. So that's what happened on the Monday. Now, on Tuesday, we had a total of 2 trades. We had a sell trade on the pound Swiss franc, and a buy on the pound Swiss franc. We had 2 trades on the same pair on that day. If I can bring up the pound Swiss franc, which I don't have, so let me get that on here. And yeah, they were both done on the Tuesday. Bring this over here. So I'll bring up the first trade we had, which was the sell on the pound Swiss franc. If I go to this here. So we had a sell trade here. Unfortunately, this one did go to the full stop. You can see we got triggered in here and the market just jumped out. Now, at the same time, we were in a buy trade. Well, in fact, it wasn't at the same time. Afterwards, we got involved into a buy trade. So we can see the market pulled back. We decided to go long. Our initial target was up here. So we're initially going for a 100 odd pip target. We got about halfway there by the looks of things, maybe slightly over halfway. Yeah, 75 pips. So yeah, so over halfway. On this trade here, it would have been a break even. I did get a bit of slippage to my side, so this may show a slight profit. I think I made like a pip or something off of it, but we'll be classifying this one as a break even in our results. So yeah, bit of a shame, it's a full stop loss on the first one, and then break even on the second one. So it wasn't a very good start to the week, and the rest of the week wasn't hugely better, but we did have a couple of winners in here. So the next day, obviously being the 9th, which is a Wednesday, we had just the one trade on here, which was on the Euro Swiss franc, which I also don't have up on my charts. Shows my brilliant preparation once again. Bring this up here. I think I just lost my mouse. Euro Swiss franc, there we go. Now, we did get a full target on this trade. We're pretty happy with this. We got into a sell here. It took a while, as you can see, from the initial entry point. We were hanging around there for quite a while. We got triggered into the trade on the 9th. We didn't actually close the trade till the 10th. In fact, I think it was over 24 hours that we were in this trade. But it did come down to a full take profit in the end, luckily. And that trade itself, in fact, would have made up for the initial two trades we had this week, the Euro US and the Pound Swiss franc. However, having said that, we haven't seen the rest of the results just yet, and they're not too amazing, unfortunately. But that was the initial trade there, so we got a full take profit on that one. And I'd say after taking one full stop loss and then one partial loss as well. I say the cable, you could include the cable from the week before, although I like to go off the trades from the actual week that they were placed, so we'll be counting them towards last week. The next trade, so that was all we had on the 9th on the Wednesday. The next day on the Thursday, there we go, if I can get my days of the week in the right order, we had a total of 3 trades. We had a buy on the pound yen, we had a sell on the euro pound, and we had a buy on the dollar yen. If we look at that pound yen first of all, which once again I don't seem to have a pound yen chart up. Okay, it's a good job these are pretty quick and easy to bring up, eh? Okay, so the first trade was on the pound yen, which was a buy trade. Once again, a little bit unfortunate. The market did go to a full stop on this one. As you can see here, we got triggered in there. The market was very, very low on the volatility side of things. We were expecting the market to at least come up to the previous high, if not break out. And it's still a possibility at the moment, although we've had a bit of a drop down. But yeah, we're expecting this to come up, and as I say, unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. So a little bit disappointing on there. And that did end up as a full stop loss in the end. Next trade we had was on the euro pound, which if I can bring this up here. Where are we? There we go. I've already got a euro pound chart up. Yeah, I've already got a euro pound chart up. Okay. So the second trade we had on the same day was on the euro pound. This was a sell. Once again, another full stop loss, unfortunately. Still looking for the market to move down, and as you can see, it came up pretty quickly on there, and unfortunately got stopped out on that one as well. So after, I say, pretty much being a break even on the 9th, which is Wednesday, I say on Thursday, the first 2 trades on there would have just taken that away. And then the dollar yen, which we've got here as well, which I also don't have the chart up for. Very well prepared for this. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so the next trade we had on the dollar yen, we were looking for a buy trade. And we got stopped out of this one at break even. Wasn't doing too bad, the trade initially. I mean, the volatility on this dollar yen's been extremely small. Obviously risk reward ratio on this one was good, but we were hoping for a little bit more. In fact, had we stayed at the trade for a little bit longer, yeah, it would have worked out okay. But you can see here initially we were going for a take profit of only about 30 pips, which once again, that's just due to the small volatility on here. But we were literally 5 pips away from taking profit. Decided to move it to break even, then the market just chopped around for a while, and we eventually got stopped out at break even on there. Once again, I got a slight profit due to the slippage, but we'll still be counting that one as a break even. Next day was the 11th. Now this was a little bit of a peculiar day. I mean, especially on this initial trade that we had was on the euro yen. As I'm sure everyone's aware, there was the tsunami in Japan, and that kind of ruined things a little bit for us this end. On the trade, which I will show you here. So we went for a sell trade on this euro yen. Now, as you can see here, the markets were initially pretty quiet. Chop, 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 not really doing anything. The news about the tsunami itself came out. The market took that negatively against the yen initially, and as we can see, that came up here. And then we saw that drop off, which is what we expected, in the first place. Obviously, we didn't know the tsunami was going to happen beforehand, as I'm sure everyone else didn't. But the market, in fact, still seems to be, we've got all them nuclear possible threats in Japan as well, and the market's still kind of and ahhing. I mean, we had a lot of volatility this morning on Monday, but yeah, I mean, it's always a tough one to call, and everyone's got their own opinions on it. But personally, whenever there is a bit of uncertainty with things, people are unsure, and a lot of people are going to be focusing on the yen at the moment. I mean, you can see that quite clearly with this morning. Obviously, you had all the possible nuclear threats with the power stations not being able to cool down over the weekend. Markets aren't open on the weekend. What happens first thing Monday morning? It starts going absolutely crazy. I think we saw like a 260 pip range on the pound yen, if I recall correctly. Let's have a look. Okay, we may have made new highs today since then. I don't think we did though. I think it's about 260 pips. Okay, even more now. 275. Perhaps that was from the first thing this morning. The market's been pretty quiet today since then. So we had that volatility on there. The same with the euro yen today. You can see we haven't made any new highs since the Asian session this morning. And volatility on here, yeah, still pretty big on there, 230 odd pips. So the market's definitely respecting them, respecting the news. It's definitely listening to the news. I'd imagine the yen pairs are going to be extremely sensitive to that until the problems resolved 100%, or until fingers crossed won't be the case, but until something bad potentially does happen, then we're going to see the reaction from that. So yeah, a little bit of a shame, but the yen itself, yeah, I mean, it can still do. I mean, safe haven currency. Take a look at the recession, for example. Even the dollar. They'll always do good in sort of bad situations, if you like, and the yen itself has still managed to gain a little bit of strength despite the tsunami and other problems that they're having there at the moment. So yeah, a little bit disappointing on this one, especially considering the market moved up for an hour and then it decided to come all the way back down again. So yeah, a little bit disappointing. I mean, if this trade had have taken profit, I mean, if you look at the risk reward one on this and this one initially here, I mean, I'm not trying to justify the loss. I mean, a loss is a loss at the end of the day. Whether you win by a pip or lose by a pip, a win is still a win and a loss is still a loss. But we had 36 pips stop roughly on that one. Take profit on there, or 115. It's a really, really good risk reward ratio. Had that one of taken profit, that would have made up for the euro pound trade, the pound yen trade as well. So in fact, we probably would have been in a profitable situation, or just at a slight loss overall, depending on whether or not you wish to count the cable at the beginning of the week. So yeah, a little bit disappointing on the euro yen, but there you go. These things happen. Nothing we can really do about that. Then the other trade we also had on Friday was a cable trade. If I can bring the cable chart back up, here we go. Bring this back to an hourly. So the final trade we had on here was a cable trade, and let's bring this on here. This is a sell. We're looking for the market to start to come down. It's always been a little bit risky around here, and we've had a couple of trades around the top as well, and the market is just continuing to bounce around in this range. I'll speak about that in just a second. Hopefully I don't go over my time. But we came down, we looked for a sell, and yeah, we got a full stop loss on that one, unfortunately. But the cable itself, if we look here, you can see we've had a couple of trades right at the top and a couple of trades right at the bottom. I mean, we've been stuck in a range for over a month now, 300 pip range, very small range. If you look on your charts, if you mark out 1.63 and you mark out 1.6, then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. 1.6, there we go. So pretty tight range. Market's just been chopping around in here. We've been chopping around in this range since, when's this? Beginning of February. So way over a month. It's not a big range. I mean, typical range on the cable, during good periods, that would be in inverted commas. As I say, what someone would describe as being good is completely depend on the system you're using, I suppose. But 300 pip range, and you've been stuck in that for a month and a half. Quite ridiculous in my opinion, but there you go, that's the way it's been. I'm sure some people like these conditions. Once again, depending on what system you're using. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the week. So unfortunately, yeah, it was a little bit unlucky. We did get a little bit unlucky on certain things. Like I say, I'm not going to call, although I've already used the word luck, but I don't like to think of things as being lucky or unlucky. Like I say, if you win, if you win a trade, whether it's by a pip or by 100 pips, a win is still a win, a loss is still a loss. But luckily, majority of the losses were only partial. And like I said, it's just a little bit unfortunate with them ones there. So hopefully we'll have a better week this week. I think we've already had 2 trades this week. The first one as well also got stopped out this week, unfortunately. But we are currently up on the cable, so hopefully that'll go to target. We'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, yeah, hopefully we can make back for last week. It wasn't a completely terrible week, but not the best in the world. Definitely could have been a lot better, but also could have been a lot worse. So we'll keep an eye on things, and hopefully they'll improve, and we'll be in a better situation shortly. Once again, though, guys, any questions, any problems, let me know. You know where to find me, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So here's to a good week this week, and any questions, please let me know.